YouTubeski, what it do, ski? We got a good one for y'all in the story time, kind of, right?
Definitely a story time.
All right, what's the story gonna be about?
The time that Watchtower broke us up.
All right, well, we'll just dive into it.
Okay, so let's just give a brief backstory and some context to this. Okay, so at the time, where do we even start? Let's start with when we started talking / dating, I guess. Okay, so we were dating. At the time, I was on private reproof. Okay, it's the only time that I've ever been in trouble, but it was enough to where it created even space within the organization for me to be like, I don't know about this. Like, this is kind of not what I'm rocking with. I didn't have to comment anymore. I wasn't going out in service anymore. I could have, but I wasn't.
Right.
I wasn't giving talks anymore. I was like, this kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of nice.
Yep.
But anyway, so I'm on private reproof, and you know they do like meetings with you. I guess like check-ins or something. So we were already dating, and they did another check-in with me, and it was such a crazy time because they were also having the merger within my congregation and like separating congregations. So like the first meeting, I don't remember, but let's just say it's like 5 months apart from the first meeting to this current meeting.
All right, let's fill in the blanks on that part too.
Okay.
All right, so
you go ahead.
All right, so when we had started talking, I was to where I had been reinstated for over a year and a half.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't really going. I would go to the hall up until I say like once we was dating. Around that time, I was hit and miss.
You're right.
I was burnt out, but didn't know I was burnt out.
Right. So we were still identifying as Jehovah's Witnesses, but we were both kind of at this, like, how they would say, spiritually weak.
Bingo.
Yes.
Yeah, you can pick up.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, so a background, too, for those who may not know, with dating in Jehovah's Witnesses is very strict. Because somebody may be like, all right, what's the big deal? So we'll get into it. Jehovah's Witnesses, when they date, you have to be up in rank, so to speak.
Yeah. Spiritually strong, at least.
Is what they call it. So you come in, so for one, from the bottom, you can be a Bible study, right? And that's somebody who just studies the Bible with a Jehovah's Witness. You have no ranking. That's like the lowest rank.
Yep.
Besides a worldly person that's not a Jehovah's Witness. Then you become an unbaptized publisher. That's when you can go and talk to people about, you know, the Watchtowers and the Awakes and basically about Jehovah's Witnesses. You're an unbaptized publisher.
Yep.
And you can also join the school. So these are little privileges, but you are not allowed to date when you have these rankings.
You are not supposed to date at that time.
No, you cannot date a Jehovah's Witness until you get baptized. And sometimes if you are freshly baptized, you are still looked at as kind of weaker because you don't know much.
Because it's fresh.
Yep.
Okay, so boom, from baptized, then you have, like, for men, they can be ministerial servants, they can be pioneers, they can be elders, they can be, okay, boom, 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 it goes up from there. And then for women, really the only thing that you can do is be a pioneer.
And they hype it up like it's a fair thing. Oh, but sisters, you get the... No,
right.
no.
And it's rankings from there. It's like pioneer, and then you could go to SKE school, and you could also join Bethel. Like in either men or women, you can join Bethel. So like if you're at the point where you're like a pioneer, you hold some kind of title, then you're looked at as like more spiritually strong and in more of a position to be able to date.
Bingo. That's the driving point.
Yes, that's the driving point. So anyway, back to the story. So I'm on my like second meeting, and they're having the Kingdom Hall merger. So now my old like what do they call it? The elder group.
Body of elders.
Yeah.
Or
so
judicial committee.
Yeah. Okay. So my old judicial committee was these brothers that I was kind of close to them, but not super close to any of them. There was one particular elder that they would not put on my judicial committee because him and I were so close. He literally looked at me like his granddaughter, and I looked at him like as my other grandpa, right? We were that close. So it like wasn't fair to have him on my judicial committee. So they say. So I go into this second meeting, right? And we're supposed to be talking about like how I'm advancing, whatever the case. I walk in and that elder that is super close to me is there. And I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, they didn't even tell me that that's what was going to happen, that he was going to be there. And I felt like it was inappropriate because you guys told me that, him and I were too close. That's why he wasn't on the judicial committee. And now all of a sudden, because we did the merger and you're switching up all the body of elders, now we have him on. Okay, so my first meeting, it went well. Like at that time, I think you and I were still talking even then, but they never brought that up, right?
The first meeting, no, I don't think we had met yet.
Well, the first follow-up meeting.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the first follow-up meeting. This is the second follow-up meeting. So, at this meeting, so he's there, and I'm like, what in the world? Like, so already I'm a little bit thrown off, but I'm sitting there talking anyway, and they're just asking me random questions. Here goes the elder that was super close to me. So have you been dating? Oh, he already knows. He already knows I was dating because I think you came to one of our meetings.
I met him and I never liked him.
I know. I don't know why, but anyway, that's besides the point. That's
he was. When you meet a man, the men in the comments will agree with this. When somebody extends a handshake and they give you a insert comments there. That is beyond disrespectful.
Yeah, you felt disrespectful.
Especially, this is a white man.
He's Italian.
Anyway,
that has nothing to do with it. So anyway, babe, he's so hard to please sometimes. But no, okay, so that has nothing to do with it. But anyway, so that happens. And the way that this elder is, he has always been very, overprotective. Will go in deep dives for no reason. And so I already know he done did his homework on you, and he did. He had called his kingdom hall. He had talked to your elders. He did all that already. Okay, and he's basically telling me that I'm not in a position. No, actually, he didn't tell me that I'm not in a position today. He told me that you're not in a position today. That's how he was talking to me. Okay, and so I was like, okay. And so what I said in the meeting, I'm like, well, for one, this is not really even what we were supposed to be talking about. And also, two, how is he not in a position today and yet I'm the one that's on reproof? I'm just wondering. It seems like we're in the same position here. You know what I'm saying? If you're calling him spiritually weak, what do you think I am right now?
Yeah.
Okay? But anyway, regardless, it had got into my head. And it was just staying in my head because I was already feeling some type of way, for being in trouble in general. And then I was like, this has put a damper and what I wanted to do. I was the person I wanted to go and pioneer and serve where the need is greater and, do all that stuff. And when I'm set on doing something, I do it. That's it. It's happening. So I already felt some type of way. And I remember I went home and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to just tell him, we're done and we're not going to talk anymore and, whatever. And I was also I think I was more impressionable then too. So that didn't help anything. And I remember I started so I texted you, remember? And I told you this is not the right time for us to date. We're both spiritually, these are all my elders' words coming out of my mouth, okay? And so I tell my mom and my grandma what I did. And they're like, what?
Even your dad was like, no.
Why did you do that? And I'm like, well, because they said that I was not in a position to whatever, to be dating him and whatever the case. And he was like, they were like, no, Lex, you don't just stop. If you want to stop dating him because you want to stop dating him, that's one thing. But don't stop dating him just because this group of elders told you that. And I was sitting there like, huh.
Right.
Okay.
Who are y'all?
So now fill in your side of things.
Okay, so I already knew when the meeting was coming,
You're right, because I was telling you.
Yep, and I already know, I could feel stuff like that, oh, this is going to be bad news. And I'm at the point where it's I'm in it. My grandmother was still alive at the time, so that was, the main thing that kept me,
in it.
Going, but I wasn't feeling it no more. And the people that I surrounded myself with wasn't the spiritual Jehovah's Witnesses. I was more with I like being around people like me who don't kind of straddle the fence, believe in it, but we like to be early 20s. Like,
to be honest, almost all of our friends were like that though.
Yeah, but that's usually like when you are feeling that type of way, you don't typically go hang with the super spiritual pioneer type witnesses. You want to hang with the people you can kick your feet back with.
Right.
Yeah, you know, so
they be listening to the music, cussing to the music.
Yeah, like want to go out
drinking,
like that.
Wanting to get drunk.
Yeah, like
smoking.
stuff like that. Cool stuff, right? So when you said that, I was just like, all right, like if you say so, but I disagree. And you were supposed to come to town that weekend. Yep. So you wasn't coming. I'm like, all right. Well, ain't nothing else I can really say.
That is not what you said.
What did I say?
I don't know. I probably still have the text messages somewhere. But
that is because it was like it was no getting the point across, and I'm like,
no, you were trying.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm like, it don't make sense, but at the same time, I didn't want to sound like one of those
too pushy.
Yeah, pushy, bad influence, non-spiritual witness type person.
Yeah, and you were like, well, we can still be friends or whatever, and I'm like, you don't even do that to people. What? You still want to be friends with me?
Right? I'm like, and you were supposed to come to town, so I'm like, we can still come to town.
Yeah,
and you were like, no. So by that point, I'm like, all right, well, fine, like. It is what it is.
And then I think we started deleting pictures of each other off of social media. You started that. And I was like, wow. So that's how you feel. Like, boom. And you were like, well, yeah. Like, you said we're done. So.
Yeah, like, bye, man.
Right. Yeah. You were like, okay. I was like, I felt so offended. I was like, oh, my God. Like, am I losing my friend now, too? And you were like, no, we can still be friends. I'm like, okay, well, we didn't talk for a day, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
One day.
Yep.
Okay, one day. And then I think I texted you and I was like, I don't like this. Like, this is kind of hard. Like, I don't like this. Because him and I were like really good friends at that point. We were texting and talking every single day, like all day. So it had already made an impression on me. And so I was like, I don't like it. He was like, I don't like it either. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm still going to come out this weekend.
The next day you drove.
I came out, and I came out there that weekend. And then I was trying to just be your friend, and then I was trying to, like, love on him. He was like,
Yeah, like, no. Like, no, we cool. Like, that's what we are. Like, don't lean on me.
I felt so hurt. I was like, are you serious? And he was like, you said, like, don't go back on your statement, like you said.
Yeah, like, you don't get to have both, like, be leaning on me, but not together. Like, all right, we cool.
And I could not believe he said that. I was like so offended.
But you gotta stand your ground. Like, if you gonna say something, you gotta back it up.
I obviously didn't mean it. Like, what do you mean? I obviously didn't mean it.
Like my mom said, we don't say things we don't mean.
Yeah. I think she told me that time, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she told me one of the times. She was like, don't say things you don't mean. And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yep. But yeah, that's part one. And then there was a time where we almost broke up because we woke up, or I woke up.
Did we almost break up then?
No, but that was a potential thing because the whole title was Watchtower breaking us up.
Oh,
so Watchtower.
No, I think you were just scared that was going to break us up.
Well, put it like this: if you didn't wake up when I was an apostate,
we would have broken up.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, so that would be like, I guess, Watchtower. It didn't work neither time, thankfully. But the second time, like me waking up, we done told that story.
Yeah, we've told that story.
And it's like, by that time, we was living together.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
But he was not trying to, like, let up. He was not trying to tell me what was going on with him. And I'm like, what is going on with you? Like, and that's what it was. I think it was like you were scared that, you know, I wasn't gonna like what you had to say.
Yep, because when you think about all the couples that we talk to, and one wakes up, it's like, like, dang, because that's the first thing that comes to mind is like your spouse is like, people typically don't believe when they hear this stuff and they shun you, but that's usually people at the hall. You don't think of like the people that you live with, like your kids or your spouse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and at that time we knew a lot of people who like possibly have been married before and had somebody who woke up and then like even just they were both married before and then one of them woke up.
I think so.
Both the couples that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
They were both married before and then one of them woke up and so
they split.
So that's all we knew was like one person wakes up and boom, they split.
And that seems like it's more common for the split to happen than both to wake up. Yeah.
It makes complete sense on why people split after something like that. And it's weird because both those cases, it was like the woman who woke up first, but like in this case, you woke up first.
Yeah.
We've asked people before, like, which one do you think has better chances of like, you know, you waking up together or like staying together after, if the woman wakes up first or if the man wakes up first? You guys tell us in the comments what you think.
Yeah, that's a tricky one right there.
I know, and I still am split on. I think it just depends on the person.
Yep,
really,
that's
it
what
really
it is.
does.
Yep.
It just depends on the person. But it just in our case, it was like usually if the woman woke up first, it seemed like the man was like,
Yeah.
But I feel like it would be the opposite. If the woman would wake up first, I feel like the man would be like, okay.
I guess it just depends.
It just depends.
It depends if your subconscious is already checked out. That's just the confirmation you need. Like, I knew it. I'm out. Nope, I don't need to read nothing else. Bye.
That is so funny. But yeah, that's our story time on that.
And thankfully it didn't work because we wouldn't have this content.
We wouldn't have
or be able to do none of this
we
stuff.
We wouldn't be together. We wouldn't have. You wouldn't have ever lived in Pittsburgh. You wouldn't have moved to Atlanta. Like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy how like one decision that you make in life can have this what's it called? A snowball effect.
Like a domino.
Yeah, it's all a domino effect in a different direction.
And that's how we look at it, because it's like everything we accomplished in the last 6, almost 7 years could have been undone because of a call. Yeah,
within the first 7 months.
That's it.
It's insane.
Like a whole bond. This is how dangerous this call is.
Yeah.
There are people, not even just people in relationships, friendships, everything, just people that are, I'm not going to say meant to be with each other, because that's how the journey goes.
Yeah.
Obviously it didn't work for whatever reason, but all over what?
Over that.
Over somebody else saying, oh, y'all can't date because I say it's, who are you?
Right. And it's even worse for some people, because they'll be, married, they'll have kids already, and then like, it's just because of this organization that they're like splitting. But it's the basis of, in the foundation of like you as people. Like when you become a Jehovah's Witness, that becomes your foundation. So it is very, I don't know, that's so tricky. That's so crazy. But that's why I'm always interested whenever people have woken up and they've been like married before, have families, like what are the dynamics of that? I'm always very interested in that, because I think that is very courageous to be able to do that and still live out your truth and everything like that, despite all the reasons to hold you back.
Definitely. And it's a lot easier for some people just not to say nothing.
Yeah.
And to be the PMO husband or PMO wife the whole time, because they're afraid of everything that's going to get jeopardized by speaking the truth. Yes.
Oh my gosh. And I just think back and I'm like, dang, like we had such an undeniable connection, I feel like, from the first time that we met. So to be able to just like crumple that up and just like try to throw it away is crazy.
Over somebody else's rules. Like somebody,
and opinions.
Yeah, like somebody that's not even in your relationship to be able to tell you, no, you can't mind your business.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's why I ain't like the elder. Another reason.
Oh my god.
No, but
so shady.
For real. No, he's a buster. So you can't say stuff about elders when you're Jehovah's Witness, but when you are an apostate, you can say all type of stuff because you just see everything as titles.
Babe, he's a family friend.
He ain't no family or friend of mine. Anyways, let us know what y'all thought about this story time. Do y'all have similar ones? Drop it in the comments. Hit us on our Instagram at Awaken Truths IG, our TikTok at Awaken Truths LLC.
And we have our healing journals. We have the regular edition as well as the PMO edition. Please watch our next video. It's going to be lit. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.